It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called 2 vs 4 Volume 2, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, starting out with the cars this week, we've got the brand new Suzuki Hayabusa and the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S. This bundle is going to cost you $897,000, and you get both of these cars, and these are basically the only cars you're going to use. I will recommend one other one for the speed trap, but that we'll get to at the end of the video. These are the two cars you're going to need for the summit. Some of the events are loaned, some of them you're going to need parts, and on a couple of them, actually I think just one of them, you're going to need 2 sets of parts in Street 2. Since both of these vehicles are in Street 2 and you're going to use both of them in one race, you'll need part sets for both. So you're going to need 2 sets of Nitrochemist, just so you know. Anyways, let's take a look at the rewards for the summit. So this week we're getting 50,000 bucks for bronze, 20,000 spare parts for silver, and the Suzuki GSX-RR for gold, with the ethereal orange smoke for platinum. It's actually a pretty cool looking smoke. So anyway, worth doing. I know the summit is not going to be everyone's favorite because we are driving a lot of motorcycles, and the motorcycles don't handle that well in the Crew Motorfest. But I think this platinum reward, it's just kind of worth adding to your collection, right? It's a free vanity essentially if you can get platinum, so why not? Just go for it. Anyways, I've got pro settings for the car. I do not have pro settings for the bike because I just don't mess with them. So let me show you those and then we'll get to the events. All right, for the first event, you're going to be using 2 loan vehicles. You've got the Hayabusa and the 4S. It's going to switch about halfway through. And so with this, there's a couple of things. Number one, there's no real shortcuts in this race. It's literally just optimizing your motorcycle skills. And to be honest with you, I'm not the best motorcycle driver. I'm good enough to get a pretty good time, but I'm not going to be able to tell you the best way to optimize exactly the motorcycles. So what I'm going to do here, because there's no shortcuts, I'm just going to play this race for you. And I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. The first thing is my lines that I'm taking, and see if you can mimic those lines. If you can do that, you're going to get a good time. Now, you might not get the top time, the best time in the summit, but you're going to get something that's definitely decent that gives you a lot of points. In addition to that, you're going to want to pay attention to my NOS usage. So with that said, I'm going to let this play and we'll go to the next event. Anybody who doesn't need to see this because there's no shortcuts, just jump to the next event. the next event is with the Hayabusa, and with this one there are a couple of shortcuts, so let's fast forward to those. Everything else with the race, I want you to sort of take what you learned off of that first race and apply it to this one. Now the first cut happens here at about 3%. You'll cut across the grass here. Try to avoid the trees if you can. That definitely slows you down. But what you want to do here is use your NOS to get up to speed. You're going to do the same thing after the next turn. All right, the next cut happens here at about 38%. You're going to go right into the woods, hit the checkpoint, stay a little bit right, and then go to the next checkpoints. A little bit like kind of like a straight path, but it's not exactly straight. The remainder of this race is exactly the same portion of the first race that you did on the first part. So just put what you learned off of that race into this one. All right, let's move on. All right, the third race is with the 4S, and because this is a lapped race, I'm going to let you watch the full lap. There's not any like real significant shortcuts, but there's a lot of like little corner cuts, and the lines you take on this are going to matter. So try to mimic my lines as much as you possibly can. Try not to lose traction with the car. That's the biggest problem when it comes to speed for your laps. And I'm not sure. And to be honest with you, I think I may have like lost traction a couple of times, but you try not to drift. You want to grip this entire thing and you want to use your NOS correctly. So anyway, just pay attention to the lines and the NOS usage, and I think you'll have a good time. All right, the next race is once again a race where there's not any shortcuts. So I just want to let you watch the whole thing. I think by going past these and saying, oh, there's no shortcuts, you just have to stay on the track, good luck, keep going, I don't really feel like that helps anyone. So I do want to show you the full race on this particular video. That way it's a little bit more helpful to the players that are maybe wondering where they're losing time. They can kind of compare their races to what I'm doing. And again, I'm not the fastest racer, but I at least have a general concept of what makes it fast on the track. So just try to follow the lines, and we'll go to the next race. All right, the next race is with the Hayabusa. There's a few cuts in this one, so let's just go ahead and fast forward to those. Right here, about 15%, there's an extended cut. You're going to go right first, then go back to the left, and you're going to nos over this hill here. Keep going straight, go across the grass or pineapple fields, whatever you want to call it, and then rejoin with the road. When you get down here at 32%, you're going to cut this corner to the left here, slow down, go across, and keep going. Finally, towards the end of the race here, you're going to stay wide here and then cut yourself across and nos yourself to the finish line. That's it. Let's move on. All right, the next race is with the 4S. And this one does have a couple of cuts, but the vast majority of the time is going to be saved by making these gutter turns. And if you don't know how to gutter, I've got a gutter guide linked in the description. You can go ahead and check that out. And that should help you a little bit understand the basic concepts, how to get better at guttering. But guttering is extremely important in this race specifically. There's just a lot of tight turns, and you're going to be using the gutter just like this in every single... I missed it. That wasn't it. But this one, possibly. There's a little bit better of an idea. And I think I hit this one as well. There you go. So that's guttering. That's what you want to do all the way up this hill. Let me fast forward to the cuts. All right, coming down the hill here at about 63%. You're going to go across the grass here, avoid the poles and the arrows. So you're going to do it again here. I kind of stayed on the road a little bit too long here. I could have cut over a little bit earlier, but you can see it's an obvious grass cut here to the left. Then finally, when you get down the hill, you can actually cut this corner too. You can cut it close to that house. Just be careful because the curb throws the car a little bit. And you can do the same thing on this right-hander as well. Just get yourself over the curb there. And that's it. Let's move on. All right, the last event is this Track Forge track of the week. And there's a couple of things you can do on this one. The first thing is your NOS management is very important. I don't use the NOS at all until I get all the way down from these jumps. You could definitely use it a little bit, but I just slipstream with the AI. So turn it on 5 of 5 difficulty and slipstream with the AI here. The one cut that I've noticed, and I think this should be said for the NOS management here, is just you have to use a little bit of NOS in the air. You don't want to use a lot, just spurts, you know what I mean? And same thing here, just like kind of little spurts in the air. And then again here, use a little bit of more of a push there, and you're going real fast. Now here's a trick that if you get stuck on these guys, if you can see the timing of them and they're going to be down in your face as you approach them, you can just press the start button. They won't look like they're moving, but in reality, they actually are. They don't stop when you open your menu. So if it looks like you're going to hit them, just press the menu button, count to like 2 seconds, and then unpause, and you can just go right through them, and they'll be opposite of what they were when you paused. Just kind of a weird trick there. Now, here's the real first real shortcut, or the only real shortcut here in this one is as you're going around this here, you can skip a big portion of it by just jumping up like this. Now, this does take a little bit of finesse to do. You have to point the car up and you have to get the right angle. So as you're approaching that section, you have to get the car low on the ramp so that you can turn and go up the ramp. And as you crash into it, you're hitting the barrier, and you have to hope that the car doesn't flip off of the ramp there. And you have to get the checkpoint. So there's a checkpoint that you're flying towards. Make sure you get that. The other option is if you don't hit it, or if you miss it, or you can't get high enough to get onto the track, you can fly close to the track and past it. And once you pass it, you can reset, and it should put you up here. But you're not going to spawn with any type of speed, so it's probably not going to be super advantageous for you. Anyway, it's just the little trick there. Now, outside of that, there's really no other tricks. There's no other. It's just NOS. Just making sure your NOS is near the top and using it in on the all the air sections. So anyways, let's move on. All right, for the escape, you're going to go to the left of where it starts, and you're just going to drive down this freeway. So head down to the end of this green circle here, turn around, and then start going towards the speed trap. Make sure you run through it. It's going to be sideways here, so make sure you get through it like this, and then you're off and running. Now, if you have a slipstream partner, you're going to benefit from that. If you have part sets with bended on it, you should benefit from that as well. And yeah, that's kind of it. You just want to keep leaning forward and keep peppering your NOS there so that you can go as fast as you can on the highway. Again, slipstream partner would help you, but you don't really need it. I did it solo, and I got to the end with like 6,000. Let me see. Yeah, 6,600, and that was like a full summit score. So it's not even really worth like really stressing over a slipstream partner on this one. All right, and finally the speed trap on this one, you're gonna go basically here. Let me back up to where you can see. So this is where you spawn on the speed trap. You're actually gonna go through the speed trap. Again, you can press start right before you go to the speed trap so you can get through it. Car doesn't stop, but it won't register. And then you're gonna go down this way, keep going straight. And this is gonna be your run up towards the speed trap. Once you get to this white building on the right here, you're gonna go ahead and turn around. And this is it. This is the run up. So the trick to this one is kind of interesting. You obviously, oh, by the way, the car that I'm using is the Porsche Taycan Turbo S Thunder Edition. You can use the regular Taycan, but basically you're going to be using a part set that's very important here. It is Nitrochemist with Pure and Frenetic as your affix. So make sure you equip that. And if you don't have those, do your best with any type of purple set that you have. But basically, the more nitro you have, the better, because you're going to be using it in the air. As you approach this jump, you want to be hitting it a little over 200 miles an hour, and you want to use your NOS just before the ramp. So right about there. And what you're going to be doing in the air is you're going to try to wait a split second after the ramp before you start holding up. But you're going to hold up. When I mean up, I mean back on the joystick so that the nose of the car points up. And then you're going to wiggle. You're going to keep holding the joystick back and wiggle it from left to right a little bit. And that should like micro adjust the car in the air, all the while holding the NOS button. And it really does work. Now, if you hit the thing, you just rewind and try again. And this is what it looks like for me. So you kind of just like twist the car a little bit. You're still holding back. You twist the car a little bit. I'll replay that so you can see it. But basically, that's what helps you get higher speeds in the air. So once again, here we go. And watch it go back first and then twist it. And you end up with 281, which is much higher than a Street 2 car can go. Some people are getting it like in the 290s. But that's the trick. So there you go. All right, here are my final scores. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. Thank you so much for watching once again. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.